I personally have not come across quite such an impressive stabilization in my kind of professional career, which now goes back well over 50 years. It's been a remarkable achievement to bring inflation down from 70%, and I think core inflation is now down to about 3%, and the relatively low inflation is to a significant extent not due to any demand side pressure, but due to the electricity price. So it's been a remarkable achievement, and the governor and his team need to be given the highest commendation and credit for the speed with which. I know when he first moved very aggressively, there was a lot of consternation and criticism, but clearly that was the right thing to do. Repeating bouts of macroeconomic stress have arguably been the key economic cause of Sri Lanka's relative lack of progress compared to the successful countries in Asia. What caused this repeating bout of macro instability? And, of course, the 17 IMF programs, which are a reflection of those bouts of instability. So if you look back, I think you will all agree that the main cause of the macro instability was invariably the fiscal operations of the government. We have had a rather toxic combination of populist policies on the one hand and an entrenched entitlement culture on the part of the people on the other. And the two kind of fed off each other, and there was a negative feedback loop which pulled down the country's macroeconomic performance. Now, and each time we went into an IMF program, you would see stabilization take place, but as the electoral cycle turned and elections approached, we would again go back to square one. We need to make sure that we have enough buffers on the fiscal side and the external side to look after any kind of exogenous shocks. Because the world is becoming a more uncertain place. It's in terms of the kind of the global economy, it's becoming an uncertain place in terms of climate risks, etc. We need to be utterly focused on building up our reserves. We need to be on that path of building up reserves because the world is becoming more uncertain and the climate is becoming more destructive. I do feel that we are now in a far, far better place with the Public Finance Management Act, with the CBA, with the more flexible management of the exchange rate. All that has brought us to a much, much better place. And it's reflected so far in the excellent improvement, excellent stabilization that we have seen. But as I've said before, we have been here before. We've stabilized the economy effectively under previous IMF programs. So we have done that quite well, I would say, in the past. But then, because we don't do the structural reforms, the pressure comes, particularly as elections come, and there's big policy reversal and everything slips. So the task ahead is one, to secure the gains that have been made in terms of the new paradigm of macroeconomic policy making, and also to make sure that we get growth, accelerated growth.